All right, today we're going to dive into a really profound argument about the very nature of existence itself. We're looking at a classical commentary, a tafsir, on a chapter of the Quran called a Naml, which means the ant. And this isn't just a simple reading. It's more like we're engaging with a set of questions, really carefully designed questions, that are meant to make us look at the world and even our own experiences in a totally new way. So the whole argument kicks off with this question, and it's a question that's just deeply, fundamentally human. I want you to really, really think about this for a second. Imagine a moment of just absolute desperation. The text even has a specific Arabic word for it, muddar. It means someone who's completely cornered, no way out, no other options. Every door is shut. Everything you rely on, all the material things, your connections, your best laid plans, they've all just crumbled. And in that raw, exposed moment of pure need, a call comes out from the deepest part of you. Now, the commentary says this isn't just some psychological trick or something we're conditioned to do. No, it's a primal instinct. It's a fundamental recognition, a piece of evidence, really, that when all the temporary created solutions are gone, the only place left to turn is to the infinite. And that brings us to this verse, which is really the heart of this whole explainer. The commentary presents it not just as, a statement of faith, but as a proof. The word they use is dalil. The argument is that this universal, gut-level cry from a desperate person is, all by itself, powerful evidence. It points straight to a being who can hear everything, who has all the power, and who is infinitely merciful. The very fact that this instinct is inside us, this innate feeling, or fitra, and it's there across all cultures, throughout all of time, well, that suggests that the one we're calling out to must also exist. And from this super-personal, internal starting point, the text just masterfully pivots. It asks us to take that same exact logic and apply it to the world around us.
Okay, so now we're going to shift gears. We're moving from our inner world to the world outside. The text starts laying out a series of things we can all see and observe, but it presents them not as just random facts of nature, but as carefully constructed signs. And it all begins with the ground we're standing on. The commentary really zooms in on this word, qarar. It means a place of stability, a fixed home, a resting place. Now, just stop and think about what that really means when you consider the cosmos. Our planet is flying through space at, over 67,000 miles an hour? And it's spinning the whole time? And yet for us, right here, it feels perfectly stable. It's got the exact right mix in the atmosphere, the perfect amount of gravity, and that tiny, narrow temperature range that life needs to exist. So the argument is, this incredible stability isn't just the default setting of the universe. It's presented as a deliberate choice, a conscious design, making this planet a calm, livable home against just staggering odds. It's the foundation, the stage where everything else happens. So building on that stable foundation, the next sign is water. The verse is super specific, sends down water from the sky. And look, we all get the mechanics of the water cycle, right? Evaporation, condensation, rain. But the commentary is pushing us to look deeper, to ask the questions behind the questions. Like, who set up that cycle in the first place? Who designed water with its crazy, unique properties that make life possible? I mean, it's a universal solvent. It expands when it freezes. That's not normal. The verse frames this whole thing not as some random blind process, but as a direct gift, a mercy sent from above to a planet that without it would just be a dead, barren rock. And here's the incredible result. You take that stable earth, you add that simple water, and what do you get? What the text calls gardens of breathtaking beauty. And the commentary points out something really important here. It highlights the line, you could not have produced their trees. Think about that. We humans, we can farm, we can water plants, we can move seeds around, but we can't create the spark of life itself. We can't tell a dead seed to suddenly start growing. We definitely can't design the complex genetic code that lets a massive tree spring up from basically nothing. So this whole beautiful living system, it's presented as the work of a master artist, a creative power that's just on a completely different level than ours. So here's the key takeaway so far. We've got a stable planet. We've got the exact right kind of water coming down from the sky in this perfect cycle. And then, from that, you get this explosion of complex, beautiful life. The text is really challenging us here. Is this all just a coincidence? A lucky random string of events? Or is the deep connection between all these things a sign in and of itself? A sign that points to a single, intelligent, coordinating source? And that question, that's what leads us right into the main philosophical debate. Okay, this is where things get really interesting because the commentary goes head to head with a major philosophical worldview. It carefully sets up a debate between two totally opposite explanations for everything we've just seen. Is it a world created by a conscious, knowing mind, or is it a world that just kind of runs on its own by its own power? And what's so cool here is how clearly the two sides are laid out. On one side, you have the theological view the universe is a creation with a purpose. On the other side, you have what classical commentators would have called materialism. They called this belief in tabi'at, or nature, as this self-sufficient, independent power. In this view, nature is just blind, deaf, and unconscious. It has no will, no purpose, no knowledge of its own. It just operates based on these fixed, unthinking laws. And the universe is just the accidental result. No ultimate creator, just cause and effect. But then, the commentary does something absolutely brilliant. It says that this whole debate, God versus nature, is actually a false choice. It's the wrong way to frame it. It argues that the materialist side of things is built on a massive misunderstanding of what nature even is. And by just correcting that one definition, the commentary claims the whole materialist argument just completely falls apart. And this right here, this is the key that unlocks the whole thing. The source completely redefines nature. It says tabiat is not an agent. It's not a who that does stuff. Instead, nature is just the system. It's the set of laws and processes, the sunnah or custom, that the creator put into place. But even more than that, the text says this entire system is defined by faqr, an Arabic word that means poverty, neediness, a deep-seated dependency. So far from being this all-powerful, self-sufficient force, nature is actually shown to be this huge, interconnected web of things that are all fundamentally, constantly in need of something else. So let's unpack that a little more. If the main thing about the natural world isn't independent power, but instead this built-in neediness, what does that tell us about where it all came from? The commentary argues it tells us everything. I mean, think about it. A tree needs soil to stand up. The soil needs rain to be fertile. The rain needs the sun and the oceans to even exist as vapor. The entire planet needs the sun to be at that exact distance to survive. Every single piece of the puzzle depends on other pieces. And the commentary's point is this. A collection of dependent things, no matter how huge, can't be the source of its own existence. It's like a string of zeros, no matter how long you make it, is never going to add up to one. A chain of things that are all needy can't magically create self-sufficiency. So this universal state of faqr, this dependency, it points logically, it has to point to one ultimate reality that is completely independent, totally self-sufficient, and is the one that everything else depends on to even exist. And this brings us right back to that powerful question that keeps popping up in the verse. After showing us all this evidence, the stable earth, the life-giving rain, the fact that reality itself is dependent, it asks, so, is there another God with the one God? And when you look at the argument we just went through, that's not just a rhetorical question anymore, is it? It's like a logical checkmate. If the whole universe is one big, interconnected system of dependency, all pointing back to a single independent source, then the idea of having multiple competing ultimate gods just doesn't make any sense. It's incoherent. And the commentary concludes that people who suggest other ultimate causes are people who deviate, not because they're breaking a rule, but because they're deviating from the clear conclusion of their own reason. So, now that the core philosophical argument is on the table, the text wraps things up by zooming out one last time. It gives us a final rush of signs from both the earth and the heavens, just to really drive the point home. The text throws out this final list of signs for us to think about. It mentions the earth's stability again, but also the creation of rivers and firm mountains that hold the land in place. It points to that fascinating phenomenon of the barzakh, the barrier between two seas where fresh and salt water meet but don't just mix together. It's a symbol of order, of boundaries in the world. And then finally, it looks up to the sky and asks, who guides you with the stars when you're lost in the total darkness of the land or sea? And that's such a brilliant final metaphor, isn't it? The stars give you literal, physical direction in the dark, and in the same way, all these signs in the universe are meant to give you intellectual and spiritual direction, guiding you out of the darkness of confusion and toward the light of understanding. So in the end, that's the challenge this commentary leaves us with. It's making the case that the universe isn't just some silent, meaningless accident. From that inner cry of a desperate person to the spinning of galaxies, from a single drop of rain to the stability of our entire planet, it's saying that everything is speaking. The real question isn't, is there evidence, but are we willing to read it? Is the world around you just a collection of random facts and blind processes?
Or is it, like this text argues, a massive, coherent, beautiful book of signs, all pointing logically and insistently toward its author? That's the thought we're left to think about.